Welcome to the Profitable Cleaner podcast. Join your hosts, James Harper and Angel Sandoval, bringing you the experts, discussions, and knowledge you want. We talk about sales, technology, marketing, operations, strategy, leadership, mindset, health, God, and so much more. Now, are you ready to profit?
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Profitable Cleaner. My name's Angel Sandoval, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. James, the man, the myth, Harper. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm super excited to just be here today with you, and I know we're going to get into a lot of good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so we wanted to make sure we bring you this episode. As you guys know, you probably haven't heard us since our event. A lot of you have heard that we did an event called the Cleaning Profits 2.0, the statement, but we haven't talked since then. Not about that. We've had pre-recorded episodes already, which you have been listening to, but we need to make sure we come in here and get ahead of this, because the podcasts that are coming next are going to make sense, and some of them will be connected to the event, and including a live podcast episode. So we did a live podcast episode at the event, which was freaking amazing. But James, I know we have like almost like an agenda. I want to make sure that we touch on some points for our listeners, both for the ones that went, so that they can get perspective of how we saw it and what other people saw, and both for the other ones that didn't go. That's going to be super important. So tell me, James, first things first, what did you learn about the attendees, the people that went? What did you learn from them?
I'll tell
Or
you what,
about them,
man.
right? About them or from
Yeah,
them?
yeah. I'll tell you both. The people of this industry never fail to amaze me, and I think from the first event when we had people in the room, the connection and fellowship was awesome, and I was curious to see if that transferred over to this last event, and it was like amplified. It was double the connection, the engagement. Like the people are just like second to none. Actually, I'll tell you something interesting. So when we went to pay the food vendor after the event happened, Angel, I don't even think you know this, and I was giving him gratuity. He actually gave me feedback, and this goes back to the attendees. He said, "Your people took care of my staff better than any event that we've hosted in the last few years," meaning like cash tips, Venmo tips, all of that. I found that interesting. I think it just shows like the giving mentality of the people in this industry, their commitment to themselves and to growth. And I also really appreciated like the vulnerability that they showed. Our event is a little bit different. You have to open up. We ask that you come with an open heart, open
Not
mind.
a little different, that's for sure.
Yeah, sure. A lot different, immensely
Mm-hmm.
different. We ask that you come with openness, and they did that second to none. And I just commend them for that. So from the feedback I got from our vendors that were there, how
I
they
mean,
were
even
taken
the
care of.
speakers too, like Coach Burt, he's spoken in 10x stages. He speaks basically for a living, like every single freaking day almost. And both his coordinator and him said, "Hey, this is a group that's hungry, that is in the trenches with their people, and that want to do something. They want to be big. They want to do something big, and sometimes they require that help." I mean, Connor, he offered a free meeting with people, and 27, like, he's like, dude, almost everybody took up an offer, right? A lot of the companies took the offer up, right? Yagal, I mean, he absolutely loves it. He even has some trainings already booked up with the attendees. So it's very interesting to see how much action they're willing to take. Because I feel like there's this weird mindset that because we're in the facility services, commercial, janitorial, it's almost like there's so many companies, not a lot of them do the personal development or the growth. And like one of our mentors says, right, like your business will never outgrow you. But when we do these events, even with 100 people in there compared to 55 last year, the transformation, the connection, the vulnerability, but the action, like they want to get it done. So if you weren't
Yeah.
in that room and you're a person that likes to move fast, that likes to get it done, that likes to like just grow, you should definitely be there next year. I definitely learned that about the attendees. The other thing is, I think what's his name? Dontrell said it best. they go to expos, they go to ISSA, they go to these events where there's an equipment vendor, where there's, scrubbers, whatever there is, right? He's like, but what he took away from this was the fact that they're not alone. He's like, the problems that I'm going through, someone else is going through, and I get to learn from all different levels, right? And so I also learned that they are problem solvers, but not just for themselves. Like, they go on there not just to be poured onto by our team, but to serve others. Does that make sense?
Totally.
The serving
Totally.
mentality is there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I think, and they're serving amongst each other. Some of the people in the room are competitors, and they're looking at it as like, hey, how can we help the fellow BSC? And I think that's cool, man. I think that goes back to the connection we were able to duplicate from year one to year two, and we were able to duplicate the size of attendees, and I think the size of just connection in that room. So that's probably my main takeaway, man. It was like
I
full
think people like were
momentum running
hungry
out of it.
too. Like, people, they just want it. Not just for professional though, but like about themselves, their encounter with God, their encounters with their family. They just want to be a better version, and I don't think there's enough pockets and enough like events that allow for that type of space. Because it requires a different space, right? It requires that's why when we tell people, are like, what makes your event different? Like, I know everything in the industry and blah blah blah. The things that they would tell us, I'm like, you're missing the whole point. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? It's like, we're gonna sniper right down the middle, right where your soul is, right where your heart is, and we're gonna focus on that. And that's what happens. And that, it requires unity, it requires connection, it requires openness, mindset, the right speakers, the right agenda layouts, the right food, everything has to synchronize itself to open up that soul. I mean, we had testimonials. Lily said, what was your takeaways? Like, this was what I needed to encounter. This was my encounter with God, and for me to reconcile with God. That was one of the most powerful testimonials we had. Somebody else said, like, I always do business, God, then family. And because of the unity and realizing how people treat it, it's actually God, family, business. And they almost like left the event with more peace. And so this event is definitely focused on the transformational. What did you learn about yourself? Because there's one thing about transforming the attendees, right? But for people listening, I'm pretty sure they're kind of curious, like, what do you guys get out of this event? I mean, you guys are the ones running the event. What do you get out of it? What did you learn about you and our team?
That's a really great question. I'll start with the team. One, I learned that our team is like way more talented than I probably give them enough credit for. So hopefully that they listen to this snippet, and our team is everything. It's what makes the event happen. Andrea Garcia, who literally put the event together, living in Spain, doesn't cease to amaze me. She couldn't be there in person, but she was there in spirit, full force. Having Sophia come down from Bolivia and see her interaction with the people and the feedback we just got from the conversations, and how impressive she was among the attendees was awesome. So like, their impression is long lasting. I'll tell you what, man, I learned something about you. I learned that you are as advertised. And I always knew that about Angel Sandoval, but walking into that event, knowing with everything like going on from a logistics standpoint, and then like just everything, like you are as advertised, man. And it was great to see, like, sometimes you don't know who your partner is until substance needs to be shown, and the substance was there. One thing I learned about myself is like that I probably don't give myself enough credit for the substance that I have. That sounds weird saying
That's
out loud,
good.
almost sounds self fulfilling, but I realize, like, you know what, they're like, sometimes in these rooms with other top performers, you question your stance among other top performers, and it's like, no, I'm a top performer as well. So act as if. Um, and that's probably my main thing. And also just proving, like Kobe Bryant said, winning's not loyal. You always wonder, like, can you make the next jump shot for this event?
Yeah.
Can you perform again? And we showed up and we did that. We poured into everything we had. So what about you, man? What'd you learn
Yeah, no,
about
those
you?
are, first of all, thank you. And I 100% agree with everything that you said. I think our team is definitely important. I didn't realize how much our mentors, I learned something, that our mentors are actually like, they are key to all this, and our community. we gotta double down on our community. Like you guys listening right now, y'all listening right now, y'all that message us that we've done business with in the past, y'all force us and bring this expectations that we need to level up. Because how can we
Totally.
put together a show first 55, then 100, and now going in through the big goals, which we'll share here in a bit. But like, you can't expect anything less from us. And when we get that feedback from y'all, that helps us. Because then now we're like, oh, let's do big, let's do big, let's do big. Like I keep just thinking, we'll share some stuff right now. But what I learned about the team is that exactly capacity. The power that the team has is unmeasurable, and we just gotta guide them properly. What I learned about you is 100% what you just said, man. I think you because you don't call yourself an influencer, because you don't like putting labels as a speaker, whatever label you want to put. Um, I think you sell yourself short a lot of the times, and I think this event, you were able to make a statement. I mean, how many people came up to you and said, "How'd you get so fit? You look so jacked. You spoke so good. You look good." Right? Your wife was at the event. Like everything was clicking. Like it was almost like we were able to see a glimpse of what can be and what will be. Does that make sense? And so I'm excited to
Appreciate that,
explore
man.
that with you because next stage is gonna be bigger, brother. And maybe there's multiple stages. We don't know. We don't know, right? What I learned about myself, believe it or not, is that I've been playing small. That I've been playing small. That was my biggest takeaway there. My biggest takeaway is two things for myself. Is one, I've been playing small, and the reason I've been playing small is because I've had the wrong guide. I've been idolizing the wrong things. I've been focusing on the wrong things. And I shout out to Mark Anderson. He came up to me and he's like, "Hey, when you did your talk, which we'll release the talks later. When you did your talk, I had a vision. I know you're gonna do great things and like all these things. And now seeing where a lot of people are like, oh, we engaged. I encountered God. God was present. For those that didn't believe, we're like, I still went in really within myself, right? I fixed this problem. I can't. I wish you were there for the activity. If you didn't were there for the activity that I did, it's hard to explain. But I realize that I'm capable of more as long as God is leading me throughout it. So I know He has a big vision for me, big plan, and so I need to attack it with intensity, be aggressive. I've been kind of moving, but I haven't been like pushing. Like I always say, like, oh, I'm fit, right? Like again, I always run, but I never timed my runs. So then, how do I know I'm fast? I ran, but I would never compete. I ran, but I wouldn't compare. I ran, but I wouldn't know the destination. Well, recently I ran and I sent you the picture. I've never timed myself. And I ended up being the fastest like one of the fastest in the CrossFit gym. I'm like, what the? Beating the coaches because I'm doing 6 minutes 40 on a mile, right? 7 minutes when I'm tired. And people are like, dude, that's super fast. Well, that's just because I knew that the destination was 2 miles and that I had a purpose and assignment in that moment, and that was run. Not stop, not get tired. You're gonna get tired. Not just run. Just run. Keep a pace. So I learned that about myself. Now it's time for me to keep the pace, run, and have that destination, but all being led by God. So super pumped by that. But yeah, man, what changed? So I know I'm over here trying to get all inspirational and shit. We changed a
I
few
love
things.
it.
There's a few things coming. But before we get into what's coming, because what did we add? Tell us a little bit about what we decided to add from year 1 to year 2. What did we add, and what was the takeaways from that?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind that we added is roundtable leaders, where obviously there's a variety of topics that need to be covered, that should be covered, but you can't bring like a speaker and a 60-minute session for each and every topic. So we brought, was it 9, Angel? I think it was 9.
Eight or nine, yeah.
Yeah, 8 or 9 amazing roundtable leaders that really hit on these topics. If you were there, you were able to go to about 3 different roundtable sessions during day 2. And we got a lot of great feedback from the roundtable leaders. We did the expert panel. We didn't do an expert panel year 1. We did a kind of a facility director panel, which was cool. But this time we brought experts that were not all speakers. They were just participants and leaders in the industry. And then our awards, which I know we're going to get into, the freaking awards were awesome. But I thought the roundtable leaders, and then of course we had our awesome main keynote speakers, but the
Yeah.
roundtable leaders, man, crushed it.
Yeah, man. I mean, let's go through it a little bit. We'll start with our roundtable leaders. I mean, listen, we went through all of it. I don't want to mention them because I probably will miss anybody. But something that we always try to bring to our events is not just, again, the things that you already get in other events. So our roundtables, I mean, we're talking financial wealth, risk management, acquisition, operations, cross-sell and upsell, closing contracts, scalability, accessing funding, recruiting, like how to build a recruiting machine. At every little freaking point, boom, 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 boom. And we gave people 30 minutes to just go and ask the questions that they need. Because how many times have people gone and then getting pitched and then they're like, okay, well, that didn't answer my question. So we're basically very intentional with a roundtable leader. So if you're listening to this and you're one of our roundtables, appreciate you. That was really amazing. And when we looked at the event feedback forms, they literally said like wish we had more roundtable time because that's how valuable that roundtable is. So expect that next year we'll find a way to do that. What about the expert panel? So the expert panel, who do we have? We have Molly Marquez from Wingfoot Services. We had Dan Schindler from Integrity Facility Solutions, Mike Sashuk from Sashuk Consulting, Mark Anderson from the Profit Growth Initiative, and Ernesto Moreno from Moreno and Associates. What was your feedback on that? Because we did a little bit different. What did we do different this time?
Well, what was different about the expert panel was we flipped that actually to a live podcast, which we're going to be dropping here soon. So if you guys want to know more about the expert panel, definitely keep tuning into our show because that's actually going to be a live podcast. It's not just a recording that we're turning into a podcast, like it's a legit live show podcast. But man, the expert panel, I loved how they were able to, they didn't all just agree with each other on the questions that were asked from the audience. So you and I didn't ask any questions. Maybe we asked one or two questions, but really the audience asked the questions for what they wanted to know from these experts. And there was a few questions there where out of the five of them that were up there, they disagreed on some things. And I thought that it was pretty cool in that scenario that they weren't all just agreeable because they're in front of a stage. They gave their opinions as to why they disagreed, and I thought that was interesting. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree, man. That was really fun. I think it was different. I think you got a Dan Schindler that believes heavily in AI and subcontracting. Then you got Ernesto Moreno that's full blown W2 and old school. And I think like when you're able to see those, and then you got Molly that's huge in numbers and profits, and so overall, like I think it was a great expert panel. There's not much for us to say because it's gonna be live soon, and so I want to make sure that they can see and get the nuggets. And again, people were the ones asking the questions, and then James and I took over, so that was super fun. Last but not least, something that we did add, by the way, we got to work out with a Army Ranger, so that was fun. We had a good turnout. Almost like 30% of the people showed up at 6 a.m. to work out. So I just wanted to give a shout out. I know we can't say the name, but I just wanted to give a shout out. All right, hang with me for the next minute and a half. We got a quick break here in the Profitable Cleaner because we're officially official. It's like I like to say it. Why? Because I get to take this break and introduce our sponsors. First sponsors is USource. So go to usource.com. That's USOURCE.com. This is a business management platform for facility services companies. No more chaos, unnecessary admin work, or just having to consolidate information. This is about you not being the source of information anymore and having a platform that can give you the accessibility, visibility, and control over your operation. So see more, do more, whether you're one employee or 3,000 employees. This is the platform for you. So check out our sponsor, usource.com. Our second sponsor, dayporter.com. They will help you with all your outbound, LinkedIn, email, call, and they're going to do it with a team from Latin America. So make sure that you reach out to them, dateporter.com. They can help you hire your next superstar and give you the strategies to go book the walkthroughs that you're looking for. The third one is going to be Melgar Consulting. That's alexmelgar.com. If you're hovering around the $5 million range and you're in the facility services industry, want to hit those 20, want to keep bumping your head and really want to scale, he is going to be able to consult and help you have the right foundation, the right structure, and the right strategies. and the right advisory and consulting to get you past those 5 to 20 million. So go to alexmelgart.com. And last but not least, our fourth sponsor, cleaningprofits.com. That is our annual event for facility services, CEO, executive teams, leadership teams. Bring them out. This is all about transformation. It's all about training. It's all about community. And it's held once a year, this year, September 12th to the 14th. So thank you once again to all of our sponsors. And let's continue on to the show.
I want to give a shout out to the people that showed up because talking about year one to year two, we had like 5-6 people year one. And then we had like 30-35 people year two. And I thought that was cool. Like we packed that CrossFit gym 100%. and got after it 6 a.m, kick your day off right. So shout out to you guys that showed up. And that's part of the transformation we talk about, right? The physical 100%. Aspect. And it was cool to see.
Mind, body, spirit, right? Mind, body, spirit, and business. So it's it was not a hard workout. So if you're listening to this, just be ready because I think next year we can do better. But it was just enough to where it wasn't too much where you're like sore throughout the day. It was just enough to like wake up and realize that there's no excuse to not work out. I think we had somebody come to us and they took a picture of the workout and they're like, I'm just going to be doing this in the hotels and at home when I'm traveling because it was a lot of body weight. So again, one person telling us that they're going to start now, and then you get a Fernando Barrios or Ernesto Moreno that from year 1 to year 2 lost 60 pounds. This is what we mean. And it's not about just getting you a contract. It's the transformational, getting you to see life different and see yourself as someone different, right? Like you could see the energy from Ernesto and Fernando just from the weight loss that they went through. You can see their mindset is different. They think different. They take action different. They're decisive. They know what their standard is. So it's very, very fun. So shout out to them. So James, year 1 to year 2, 55 people to 100 people. Year 1, we had no clue what we were doing. Year 2 looked like more professional. We even had those little like headsets instead of just a mic. Year 1, no music. Year 2, full blown music, screens, right? Year 1, all over the place. Year 2, on point, right? Year 1, no VIP. Year 2, VIP. What have been your biggest lessons from the way we ran event year 1 to year 2? And then what lesson do you personally want to take going into year 3?
That's a great question. I think my biggest lesson from year 1 to year 2 goes back to something you said is we had a lot of guidance from mentors on the second event. And that guidance really helped us dial in. I think the logistics, the curriculum, just the execution of the event, which ran a lot more professional and ran a lot smoother. I will say the one thing consistent between year 1 to year 2 was, again, the intentionality and the substance. I think that if that transfers over year after year, then that's all that ultimately matters. But then if you can enhance the experience with the actual experience of the event, that's just a bonus. Going into year 3, one lesson I'm going to take moving forward is just the attention to start now. Like our learning never starts or stops, and really like what we want to pour into the next event never stops. Like you finish an event with 100 awesome people, you think, oh, now I get a chill until next whenever the next event is, and now it's go time. It's like, no, we went right from this event to thinking about year 3 so we can make it just as impactful, more impactful, and continue to carry that substance over. So my main lesson is like, this event is part of what we do now. It's not just an event.
Yeah, 100%, right? It's part of who we are. We were there to make a statement. I think we made it. I learned a few things from year 1 to year 2. I think our events are actually wired and pre-framed, like set up to where you can bring more than, like, you don't have to just be the CEO. So we had people
Totally.
like Integrity, like Babco, like Spotless, Moreno, that they're bringing 4 to 5 per company, right? Because they needed to make sure they captured different areas that was going to impact the business. So one thing I learned from year 1, we did get a lot of individual. Year 2, we got a lot of teams. And so year 3, I definitely want to build that pocket, like that opportunity to say, hey, let me bring my team of 10, because that's what's going to impact. Another thing I learned is, doesn't matter the size of a company. You need to have a good balance. Somebody that's 500,000 can learn from somebody that's 60 can learn from 5. It just depends on what the strengths and core capabilities are. And sometimes if you're in a circle where they're just all really, 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 really big, then you can't actually learn the next 2 steps. You can only kind of envision. So that was really a good lesson. Another lesson is we'll have snacks. I think when you brain a lot of cells in the brain, you get hungry. So we gotta make sure we pack our peeps with some snacks. But honestly, man, people are hungry for it. And I noticed that they're there to see a show. They're not, I learned that people they don't go to events for just knowledge. And I think that's where most events mess it up. So if you have an event and you're listening to this and all you want to do is give them knowledge or too much knowledge, or all you give them is community and nothing else, or if you just give them professional knowledge, or if you just give them cool experience, you have to learn that there's intentionality to every point of the agenda and every point that we're creating here. And so that's my biggest lesson was, if we can figure out that agenda, like for those that went, that our agenda had intentions behind everything. Every single activity was key. What advice would you give to someone before we tell them what's coming here? What advice would you give to someone that didn't go, or somebody that did go? What advice would you give them both to prepare for the next year?
So if you didn't go, my main advice would be to ask yourself what's holding you back from being around a group of people in your exact industry that you can learn from, and also you probably have something to contribute to as well, right? If we know that there's servants within this industry, if you're one of those servants, then you're doing yourself in the industry and not an injustice by not being there. For attendees that will be back for the third year, my thing is to really, I want to see the transformations like we saw in Ernesto, Fernando, and others from year 1 to year 2. I want to see the transformations, and then I want to see how you don't just settle with that transformation, how you keep building upon that transformation or find a new one. So that would be my feedback, and I guess recommendation to people that didn't go and who are going to return for a third time. What about you, man?
Yeah, I think if you didn't go, why not? Like, come on, stop bullshitting yourself. I had people like Hillary and Wayne. I don't know how to say their last names, but Hillary and Wayne, they ended up being like really good friends of ours, and they were struggling in the beginning on trying to find a way to go. They were like, I don't know, and then she was like, you know what? I don't know how we're gonna figure out the logistics, but we're going. So they committed, they bought their ticket, and then out of nowhere, boom, a babysitter showed up. Boom, a lead came through. Boom, like things started happening, and by the time they left the event, they had gotten a really big lead for them that they had to go and create a proposal for. The reason I'm saying that is, for those that didn't go because of logistics, because the business depends on you, because like all the list, you can ask every single attendee that went. I will give you their number. I'm just kidding, no, but you can ask every single attendee that went, and they're glad they did. It is transformational, and I'm telling you, when you just commit and you decide, everything else starts lining up. The logistics will start lining up, right? The key is the commitment, and the key is the decision. And the decision, like Coach Burt said, means to kill off, right? To split. And so to cut something off. And so when you decide to invest in yourself, you're killing the side of you that doesn't, the side that's keeping you attached, right? And I know we haven't gotten into our keynotes. If you want to listen to more of our keynotes, check out the previous podcast. They had amazing takeaways, and then we will be uploading. We will create a YouTube just for all of these talks, so you guys can start seeing the substance that is there. But again, for me, is if you haven't gone, there's only a handful of events here, and I promise you that if you're looking for personal growth, team growth, if you're looking to really unlock a different side of you, you need to be in ours. If all you want is expo and equipment and supplies and things like that, I'm not saying they're not important. I'm saying that's a different part of the business. and the events that have that, like ISSA, which by the way, we'll see y'all there. But all those are important. But for this one, you gotta let us work on our lane. We'll take care of you. So James, what's come? Oh, and then if you've already been here, just come again. It only gets better. Trust me. Somebody, I think Ernesto, a few people came up to us and they were like, "Damn, you guys had raised the bar last time," and I was like, they're probably just, how can they raise it? And they were like, game changer. So keep holding us. If you already been here, keep holding us to high expectations and high standards, because our whole goal is to shatter your expectations and your standards. Want to do so good every single time that you have no choice but to attend, because you know it's only going to get better. And that's definitely a guarantee and a promise that we'll give you. James, what's coming? We have a few things that are coming, and then we'll close it off here. So what's coming, brother?
So I think we kind of already dropped one. Definitely be listening here in the next week or two for the expert panel live podcast that we did at Cleaning Profits 2.0. You're not going to want to miss that. We've never had the chance to interview 5 leaders all in one setting, and questions not being asked from us, being asked from other leaders within the industry. But the big thing, man, is really the awards. That was something that was new to our event this year. The awards were freaking awesome, man. And we had 3 categories of awards. We had 3 all-star winners. And the biggest thing that you need to know about the awards, you're going to hear from the award winners from the event, and exactly why they won those awards and what those awards really stand for. And we're interviewing them one-on-one
Yeah, and I
specifically
mean the
about
awards were a skyrocket award, so increased, like the biggest shift in sales over the last 2 years, right? Then we got the giver, the person that gets more involved with the community, and we had specific things, and then the visionary award. Um, and you'll be hearing from these guests, so be on the lookout. We're gonna have these podcasts with the award winners. So if you want to learn how to be a better visionary, how to get involved more with the community and actually give, not by saying but by doing, and if you really want to scale your sales, and your growth, then make sure you're still on the lookout. And I know we have 2 more things coming, James. One, keep an eye out for November 21st. That's all I'm going to say. There's not much we can say.
there you
We
go.
have a
Yeah.
very big surprise for y'all. Very big surprise. This is definitely something we've never done. This is something that not a lot, I don't know if any events do it, to be honest. This is not something common, but it's definitely something that is going to be a game changer. And I can't tell you what it is. So if you're listening and you're a fellow listener, November 21st, be on the lookout. November 21st, be on the lookout. And the second thing, James, what did we introduce over there that we'll be doing down in March, in case any of our listeners are interested in attending?
So we wanted to create something that was a little bit different, where you could get away and literally get away. So we did something called the Visionary Getaway. We're lining this up for March 2024. Dates will be released here soon, but it's for the visionaries, for the leaders, the CEOs of companies that are looking to get away. We're going to go down to Mexico, and we're encouraging everyone to bring their partner. That could be a business partner, that could be your husband, that could be your wife, and really commit to 2-3 days of growth in a fun location where you can have fun. That's why it's a getaway, right? But you're also learning and growing at the same time with other leaders and people in your industry. And again, just kind of doubling down on the learning, the growth, and the fellowship. But this time adding personal aspect to it. Like, I'm bringing my wife this time. Obviously, my
Yeah,
business partner Angel will be there, but I want my wife part of this journey more, right?
100%. It's all
And
about the
maybe
vision,
you
right?
do. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's
exactly.
why I do what? Uh oh, you mean the listeners. Got it. The
Yeah.
vision. That's why it's the visionary, right? So the key is, we gave a talk on how to create vision. And so again, we might be releasing some of these on YouTube, so we'll make sure we put it on the show notes once they're ready, or we might just upload it here on the podcast. I don't know. I don't know right now. We'll figure it out. But I think a vision, if you struggle to see the vision, the end goal, right? To have the wisdom, the plan, to go ahead and plan, like have what's next, then that's what we're gonna focus on. Again, and now I'm not gonna talk about your operations. We'll talk about the vision, because that's what keeps us going. When we can see a glimpse, even if it's blurry, in the end, it does make a difference. And so if you felt a little dark, or feel like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this, Visionary Getaway 2024, Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, right? And we're gonna have 3 days together, probably a Wednesday through Friday, and we'll be releasing the dates shortly. So connect with James, with Sophia, with Andrea, so we could get you the right information and get you all set up. Well, listen, James, what can people expect going into year 3? Let's just close it out here. But again, for all the listeners, thank you so much. You guys have been key to all this. You guys have been key to all this. You guys are, I'm going to repeat it one more time. You guys are key to all this. Keep holding us to expectations. Keep expecting more from us, because with great responsibility, then you get great power. It's not with great power comes great responsibility. You can't just be handed power without knowing that you can be responsible or steward that. We've been given the responsibility of developing every single one of you, of making sure that we bring the right guests, the right tools, the right resources, the right everything. And so
Yep.
we have that responsibility, and so God has given us this power to do so. We're going to do everything in our power and then keep developing our power, right, to make sure we bring you that. So what can people expect in 2023 in year 3, 2024, third time? We are even almost already have the theme. We won't share it yet, but I know we're already planning everything. What can people expect, man? Or what can you give them insight to?
I'll kind of give you a promise. I guess that's what's coming to my mind right now. And my promise is our promise, and that is that we're going to continue to raise the bar for you. Because when we have to raise the bar for you, that ultimately forces us to raise the bar for us. What does the bar mean? The bar means education. It means our own ability to learn more so we could bring to you. It means more growth for us from a personal perspective and learning so we can, again, pour onto you, and then continuing to double down on what you guys tell us you need, and us being a resource for those needs and connecting solutions to those needs. So in 2024, year 3, you can expect us to raise the bar for you, which ultimately raises the bar for us.
Yeah, and to be more specific on that, we're actually going to bring more people. By the request of the attendees, they feel like they need more people there. They want their friends. They want their whole teams. They don't want one person. So we're actually going to be up-leveling. Our initial, first was 55. Second one is 100. This time around, we're going for 300. And I need to say that publicly, because, and I'm not saying 300 individuals. I'm saying like 300 individuals, but doesn't mean 300 companies. I'm encouraging everybody listening to this is, let's get your team there. Let's get you out there, because it'll be transformational. You'll be able to come back and be able to really create change throughout the company. So this time around, we're going for 300 workshops, experiences, all access parties, VIPs. But everything that we're gonna do is gonna be bigger, but we're still gonna keep at our core about creating that fellowship, that intensity, that community, and that intimacy. And so that's never gonna change. And most importantly, whether you believe or not, God will be centered throughout, and He will be moving through our event. So be ready. Once again, James, thank you so much for hosting another podcast with us here at the Profitable Cleaner. Any last words before we call it, brother?
I think that'll do it. I do have one last statement. Don't do this journey alone. Don't do the journey alone. Whether you're listening to this podcast, share it with your team. Whether you're going to our event, bring your team, right? Whether your success, whatever that looks like in your life, don't do this journey alone. And often we tend to think it's just us creating, making, and breaking this journey. Don't do it alone.
That's a good word. So if you're listening to this, understand we're here for you. We're committed to you. Again, you've given us the responsibility, and that responsibility has brought us the power. And so now we need to leverage our power, use our power to change you, to change your family, to change your life, to change one household at a time. Because if we change one, like they say, that's 4 people. We can change 4 people in one household on average, right? Then we change a neighborhood. If you change a neighborhood, you change a city. You change a city, you change a freaking state. You change a state, you change a country. And it all takes one by one. So let us be part of that journey. Thank you so much once again, and we'll see y'all on the next episode.